welcome back. Another episode of my Seattle Mariners franchise here on MLB The Show 25. Where today we're gonna, just play a couple of spring training games and, just kind of take a look at some of the new guys. Take a look at Harry Ford, one of our top prospects. We didn't get a chance to last year as he was hurt. But I think I want to do first is talk contract extension. So I tried to offer Gilbert a contract over the offseason. He's gotten to a point with his overall that he's just really, really expensive. He's gone up even more now, like for us to sign him, really anything past his arbitration. He's looking for $30 million a year. George Kirby looking right at $30 million a year. But I think what I want to do, as I think there are players on this team, like even as we look into 2027, so you're going to have people that are going to be expensive. Luis Castillo is about to come off the book. You'll have Rengifo, Winker. Like, this is not a team that has a lot of money really tied up, really beyond 2027. So some of these pitchers are obviously going to get expensive, but as I'm taking a look at this depth chart, as we head into 2028, you start getting to a point where you're starting to kind of have questions, right, about this rotation. And while we drafted a guy like Gary Valencia, who I think is going to be really good at this time, and there's always a chance that we can sign Gilbert or Kirby whenever they get into their out of their contract. So we got 2 more years of team control over Kirby. We got 1 more year of team control over Gilbert. He'll be the first domino, to see how much he can get. He's coming off the books at the same time Luis Castillo does. It'll be Castillo's age 34 season. But I think what I want to do is give us at least a little bit of comfort. And I think what I would like to do as I'm taking a look is I think I want to give a contract extension to Bryce Miller. So I looked at Miller and Wu, and I think a big reason why Wu was showing some regression last year is his potential is an 84. I noticed it's the same thing for Cal Raleigh, but we'll get to him in a minute. Bryce at least still has some room to develop. I don't know exactly what his so his potential is a 90. So there's still some room to grow. And as you look at maybe, his FIP and stuff from last year is not great. It's 402. But he has got attributes that I really trust. That hits per 9 and the walks per 9 and homers per 9, and 78 control. Like, that is things those are attributes that I trust on this game. So with that said, we got him for 3 more years. I think I would like to give him a 5-year extension, just under $20 million, just in case he gets to that age, 29 season, and we try to, at that point, if he's a 90 overall, you're talking about him being, the same as a Logan Gilbert, the same as a George Kirby. You're looking at $30 million a year. I think being able to buy him here through his age 32 season at just over $19 million a year, I personally think is worth doing. And we have made our first real domino here. It does not affect our budget for this year. Now, it does increase the amount of money that we have heading into next year, at least a little bit. For sure, as now Miller is our second most expensive player on the team through next season. And maybe that's not the right decision. But I really wanted to, as we look into 28 and 29, I wanted to have that comfort of Bryce Miller. I do think that we'll be able to find prospects and stuff that can kind of fill slots. I think that there's a good chance that we can always extend Wu, because I don't ever think that Wu is going to be overly expensive. But the way contracts and stuff work in this game, I wanted one of these guys to essentially be here, through 2030. That was what I wanted. I think Bryce Miller is a guy that I feel very comfortable with. He's 27. I think he's going to progress. I don't really see a situation in which he is really going, really and truly, like I just feel very comfortable in this. He was worth 2.5 wins last year. He feels really good every time that I have pitched with him, which I think was just once or twice. Really, the only thing to me that's negative is his strikeout rates. And it was something that really negated last year in 2024. Buck 71 and 180 innings. I just think this game, they don't strike out as many people as they do in real life. So I think that your FIPS and stuff on this game are going to typically, maybe be a little worse than they actually would be in real life. Just because I think the strikeout rates are going to be a little lower, but that's neither here nor there. I did want to look at the concept of Cal Raleigh here. So we only have him for one more year. It'll be his age 30 season. And a guy we're going to look at today is going to be Harry Ford, who is kind of the next guy up. He's 23, not likely to make the team this year. As I think we're going to carry Mitch Garver and Cal Raleigh. Ford's 71. I don't know exactly what his potential is. 81. So he's never going to be a superstar, it doesn't look like. But even last year, in a year that I found a little disappointing, Raleigh increased his on-base percentage, his average enough to where at 3.3 WAR, it was the same as it was in 2024 when he hit over 30 homers and won a Gold Glove. He was a top 5. Just kind of as I quickly glanced through, searching just all catchers. He was like a top 5 most valuable catcher in baseball there in year 1. Let's just say we wanted to give him, a two-year extension. So we only have him for the one more year. Let's say that's his age 30 season. Even if we wanted to push it, let's say we wanted to give him a 3-year extension. You're only really looking at having to give him $10 million a year. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I really think that Raleigh, and his potential is 85. So I think this is kind of going to be where he settles in. I think that's something that we can at least come back and look at. I do worry that Ford is never going to be a guy that I'm like, yeah, he's definitely a guy that I want starting at catcher for us. I think he'd be fine. I think that you're going to end up with his his hitting attributes being in the 60s, probably going to walk a decent bit, going to have some strikeout problems. But a lot of his high overall here at 23 years old comes from the fact that he's got 80 speed, but doesn't really have the stealing and stuff that helps out. He has no secondary position, much in the same way that neither Raleigh or Garver do. And he's got a lot of solid defense. I think that what we need to do towards the end of this year, once we get to the next stage of contract extensions, if Raleigh is posting, somewhere above that 720, 730 mark in OPS, I do think it's worth considering trying to sign him through his age 31, 32 season, because I think he's going to hold in being, I think 3 years from now, I think he's still going to be a higher overall than Ford is. They're projecting Ford to get to the 81 overall in 2030. And this is not perfect. This is not a for sure science or anything. But Raleigh is a cornerstone player. He's one of the best catchers in all of baseball. If you just search strictly by catchers, right? He's the 4th highest overall player at the position. Guys that had a higher award than him last year were William Contreras, who had an outstanding season, and Francisco Alvarez, who had a phenomenal season, an 809 OPS. But he was better than pretty much everybody below him, and he was tied right there with Adley Rutschman. And he's a year older than Rutschman, and Rutschman is going to get paid. I don't know. I've thought about that, but I thought it was worth, because we don't have anybody else really outside of Julio signed to any long-term deals at all. I thought it was worth kind of giving this shot in the arm to Bryce and giving us a starter that we felt really good about heading into the future. So to me, that's the last big step of the offseason as we get into spring training. If you missed the last episode, a couple of big things. I made some mistakes when it came to our relief pitchers. Went back and signed some of the guys that I accidentally let go, I guess. Signed some other guys kind of in the fringes. We added Taylor Rogers, 35-year-old, Added him 4.3 mil. He had a sub 2 ERA, so back-to-back outstanding seasons. FIP looks really solid. Just gets the job done. Really good hits per nine. Really good pitch clutch, which is something I'm very interested in. Brought back Snyder, Thornton. Salcedo is a guy that's kind of on the chopping block after kind of a subpar season. He was really the reason why I went out and decided to go get Rogers to kind of fill that spot as a lefty if I decided that Salcedo, if he does not have a great, time here in spring training, maybe give Rogers the shot. Salcedo's got an option to use. So we'll go from there. But we had to add Harry Ford to the 40-man to give us a chance to play with him again. We did not get to do that last year. So we'll play with him a little bit here in spring training. Adrian Ramirez, he's our top pick in this past draft. Not on the 40-man at 18 years old, but wanted to, just kind of give him a shout out. He's a top 8 prospect in all of baseball at this point in time, which our second-round pick, Gary Valencia, is a top 4 prospect, I believe, and is a guy that I think is a future focal point of this team and this pitching staff. But we signed Luis. We brought back Jorge Polanco, but we signed Luis Rengifo. Going to be our leadoff hitter. In a lot of ways doesn't fit your typical old school mold of a leadoff hitter, right? Just the 49 speed, but he can steal. He's at least successful in what he does. Not a great fielder. He's going to be playing third base for us. He's got a better arm than Polanco does, so the infield defense is not going to be great. But he can hit. He's produced back-to-back seasons, or 3 straight seasons now, with at least a 339 on-base percentage, 3 straight seasons of at least a 764 OPS. Doesn't hit for a ton of power, steals the little bases, but he just hits. He gets on base, and that's what we really wanted. Again, brought back Polanco. Doesn't hit for a high average, but walks enough to at least keep the on-base percentage respectful, and 22 home runs, 706 OPS. We signed him to a 1-year deal there. Didn't really add anybody else along the infield, but what we did add was Jesse Winker, who's going to be our new DH, at least against right-handed hitters. He is coming off, he's a former Mariner, and it was kind of the start of a downturn for him over a 2-year stretch. Figure something out in 2024, 765 OPS that year, 360 on base percentage. Then last year for the Mets, 805 OPS, 364 on base percentage, hit 275, 17 homers. He walks a lot. He can provide value on the base pass with his ability to steal. He is a terrible defensive player. He can play out there occasionally. We got him for 2 reasons. The fact that he doesn't have to get taken out against lefties, and the 91 discipline, 99 clutch, and he's a good enough hitter even without people, in scoring position to be a good hitter for us. And I think that's something that's very important. Also made John Simon 5 inches taller than the 5'7", 165 pounds or something he came in with, just for what it's worth, as he's supposed to be more of a power-hitting outfielder. If y'all think that's wild, it's fine. To me, it actually probably makes it a little bit more difficult. He's got a larger strike zone and stuff now, but wanted to point that out. And that's pretty much it. So what it's going to do is probably make Burleson just more of a backup outfielder against righties. Is going to play first base for us, probably against lefties. Is Rayleigh, who is our normal first baseman, really just cannot hit lefties at all. But we'll at least see how that goes. We ended up arbitration with Arozarena, $11 billion. If he drops off the face of the earth, maybe we figure something out. Burleson, at least right now, is kind of the 4th outfielder type, as Winker is going to largely just be a DH, but it does hurt Dominique Canzone's chance of making the team. Figure Arozarena, Julio, Robles are going to be playing every day in the outfield. Jesse Winker is going to be the DH. That pretty much just leaves Burleson as your 4th outfielder. Canzone has had some big moments for us. He can hit for power against righties, but there's just not a lot else to his profile. And I worry that if he was really consistently playing all the time, that he would be not quite as good as he was this past year. But it's spring training. And I think that we'll just come into this first game. I think that we'll play a little. We'll probably play just a player lock. We'll go to the plate a couple times with Luis Rengifo. Do one with Jesse Winker. I'll do a game we get Harry Ford in. We'll kind of take a look at the stats, see if anybody is standing out, both in a good way or a bad way. And we'll get ready for the regular season. But kind of the thought process I have of the team, I think we're going to do a better job of getting on base with guys like Winker. And, really Rengifo, to me, is the biggest thing. Because he's essentially replacing – the Donovan Solano, Dylan Moore at-bats, guys that did not hit at all. I mean, Dylan Moore had like a 260 on-base percentage. You're talking about getting an extra 100 points in there, a probable 300 extra points to your own, to your OPS. Winker just should be such a positive to this team just getting on base. You're talking, it should be 10 to 20 extra points of on-base percentage for the at-bats that he was getting while still being a positive hitter. But I was really excited about Rengifo. I went into the offseason kind of expecting to go after Willie Castro, and we did think about it. But I really just like what we get out of Rengifo. I think that Castro is the better defender, and there are certainly vibes and there's a feeling that I think we probably should have been a little bit more serious about that thought process. But we got to a point where we had signed Rengifo and we signed Polanco, and then to me, Castro is not worth it because where are you getting who are you taking plate appearances from, I guess? Polanco, as much as I like him, I don't know that he's really good enough to be a player that I would want to be my DH all the time, especially after we went and were able to go get Winker. But I think it's going to end up working out. I think this team is going to be better offensively. I think the pitching is going to be incredible. I think the bullpen is going to be even better than it was last year. Kind of as crazy as that sounds, Rengifo hits another ball hard there. It turns to a double play. I'm expecting as we put Rengifo, if he can keep up that 350-ish on-base percentage, J.P. Crawford had a nice, bounce-back campaign last year. If he keeps that 338 to 350 on-base percentage he did last year, hitting in front of Julio, I think there's a really good chance Julio has a full-blown breakout year. For the first half last year, he was a top-3 MVP guy, and he kind of fell off, which is just strictly on him as Rengifo gets a 2-hit debut here. That's just in case he does get taken out. There's a lot of positives to what these guys have and what these guys can do. Is Julio's had a nice day here. But yeah, I feel a lot better about the offense, even if the contact and stuff is not really that much improved. We were 5th in the American League in home runs last year. That's a number that I think should be pretty close to continuing as Rengifo does get taken out after a 2-hit day. We just kind of take a quick look here at the stats. Julio and Burleson each hit home runs. Julio also had a double. Looked like it was a nice day from Rayleigh. Winker gets a double there as well. We racked up 17 hits. Really hit the ball extremely well today. Harry Ford got action and got a hit as well. Polanco got a hit. Randy Arozarena with a 3-hit day. It's nice. Good to see that. I do, though. I feel good about where this team was. We lost to the Twins in the wild card round in Game 3. It was a tough game, really, for the pitching staff, more so than the offense. But the offense did not simulate well. I had success hitting with them, and I'm no superstar at this game, but it just seemed to kind of work out this way as we're going to take on. We'll do a player lock here with Winker as we're getting an opportunity to hit against Michael King, who the Angels signed over the offseason for a pretty penny. But I think to me, this team, because I didn't feel like we really needed to spend the money on a guy like Kyle Tucker, who actually really wanted to come here. I just think it would have really squeezed our margins. So what I decided to do was try to find little ways to, if we increase our own base percentage as a team by 10 or 15 points over the course of a year, that's going to end up being a lot of runs. And I think that that's going to be more important than trying to spend that much money on Kyle Tucker. Like, Tucker is certainly a better hitter than Jesse Winker. He was worth like 30 or 40 more points in OPS, which is a lot. But he was also worth $25 more million, and you're going to have to pay him for 4 or 5 extra years. What did Michael King sign for? Big time deal, right at $27 million over 5 years through his age 34, 35 season. Here's Jesse Winker, 2-hit day. Really excited just for that added on base percentage. I think that he's going to be a better version of what I thought I was getting out of Alec Burleson. And certainly Burleson is not like dead in the water. He could certainly be a starter for us next year, but we'll have to see how that plays out. As Michael King, we had the one pitch from him, and that was it. You say Kikuchi now, but really think we're going to get solid production out of Winker, Rengifo. I think that's going to end up helping everybody else along the lineup. I think it lengthens the lineup significantly. As you get, like, there were parts and times last year where Rosarena was, first half of the year, he was hitting sub 200. Rayleigh was hitting like 200. Dylan Moore ended up the season hitting like 189 or something. I think he just really is going to lengthen this. I think we could get an extra 10 or 15 points in batting average, an extra as Winker gets a double here, hits that ball well. Going to knock in 2 runs. I think that I just think we're going to end up getting a lot of positives here in production offensively. And I think the pitching staff is going to be very similar to what it was last year. Like, I just do. I think it's going to be one of the better pitching staffs in the game. Let's see what we had here. Rengifo did not get a hit. Crawford gets a 2-hit performance. Julio scores 2 runs, gets a hit. Raleigh off to a nice start. Raleigh hit a home run. Would like to see a little bounce back in power from him for sure. But that's kind of the only question I have. It's kind of how I want to end up shaping this lineup. If I need to move Julio up to the 2 spot, Winker up to the 3, leave Raleigh at the 4. Right now I got Winker largely hitting in the 5th. Let's try to get a game in here with Harry Ford. I got to kind of figure out how to do. I've never done the like the in-game player lock. But I know it's not supposed to be too terribly hard to do so. As Wu will get a chance to take the mound. Let's get Harry Ford into the starting lineup. Just slide him right there, as he is 1 for 1 on the spring. But yeah, I do have worries as far as how good Ford is going to be, but it's nice to have a catching prospect down the line just in case we end up deciding not to play or paying Raleigh. Let's see, how do we do? I think we go to substitution, and then you can do yes, selected. Nope, I don't want to do that. Trying to figure out how to do this. Toggle player lock. Yes, let's do that. Okay. Oh no, I forgot I had to. Oh no. I forgot I was going to have to do this with him. Alright, let's we'll just unlock that. We'll just do a little quick managing there to him. We'll simulate a half inning.
You're out.
Swings.
3.
Swing. Here is Harry Ford, one of our top prospects, a top 100 prospect in all of baseball. Would be nice if he had a good spring, make me feel a little better. I forgot every time you kind of get into one of these kind of quick sim games, that first pitch, it'll have a little hiccup in it.
Ball 1.
1-1. I think if Ford became a player that hit 15 homers with a 700 OPS,
Ball 2.
and I would be relatively happy moving on from Raleigh. If we decide to move on from Raleigh and he instead is a 15 homer guy, which I think that's going to be about in line with what he does.
No,
I think he's going to end up hitting 15-ish homers a year, but the OPS is a 650 instead, and And that's a little worse off, but the stats are in an interesting spot, and it kind of depends on just how everything develops as I'm late on the cutter there. That'll be the end of that inning. Now we will just quick manage, simulate inning, simulate that one, again. Crawford is on again here before. Crawford's off to a good start, it looks like. I think he's had multiple hits in every game. I got underneath that, or got over top of that one. Got a sweeper to hit, and he didn't hit it, but that's the positive. Ford can't play anything other than catcher. The 80 speed out of that spot is really nice. And since we're here, we'll get another at bat here with Winker.
That's a ball.
But really, really excited for this season. I think that we can really, I mean, it's going to be hard to improve on 91 wins. But I feel really good about us winning the division again. I think the Angels improved a pretty decent little bit, but they lost Rengifo, but they got Michael King. I don't think the Astros really did much of anything that I can remember. I think they signed somebody, but I just don't remember who it is. That's going to be a double down the line there. Going to send forward, see if he's got the legs and the speed, and he does. Not a great throw there to home, but Jesse Winker with the double. So far, so good when it comes to Winker, as Rayleigh is off to a pretty solid start. We will... Let's just simulate to the end of the game.
Ball 4, take your base.
Why is that so slow? There we go. Diamondbacks 8-0 there. You see that. And I think we'll get an inning with Bryce Miller since we signed him to the extension. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the extension. I am definitely the type that even way before I've ever started putting YouTube videos up, I always got really nervous making kind of those big financial decisions because you only have so much money. We'll put quick counts on for this. But yeah, I mean, I just think it was worth it. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to end up being a 90 overall player, and I think that he's a guy that's going to be more expensive as we're already losing other players. I thought it was just really important to make sure that we did something to keep some of these guys around. Let's we'll get a chance here. We'll hit with Rengifo off of Shohei. Have not gotten to do that on this game yet. Swung. That high fastball with this camera angle is a menace for me. But I like the camera angle. I think you can see everything really well.
Ball.
From a viewer perspective. Rengifo. Definitely going to episode 1 for this season will be the next one. It'll be opening day. Probably do a little simulating. Game 2, probably go ahead and take a trip to AA and watch Agent Ramirez. Probably do kind of the minor league episode a little bit earlier in the season. My plan right now is to kind of get through this regular season in 6 or 7 episodes probably. I know we talked about that last year. I want to keep things moving. That's why I'm kind of thinking long term with some of these contracts and stuff we were giving out. If this was something I thought was just going to be, a 2 or 3 year thing, I wouldn't really worry about it necessarily, but it makes me a little more nervous when I'm planning on getting into 2030, and beyond, hopefully. See if we can get a little something going here with Julio.
Hey!
I have not hit overly well with Julio for whatever reason. I think that I press a lot.
That's a ball.
As a Braves fan, I've done plenty of, franchises with them over the years. And like when Acuna is at the plate, I am trying to hit every pitch out for a home run. That is a big swing from Cal Raleigh. And it gets over the first home run that I've hit. And we are in episode 15 with Cal Raleigh, and it comes in spring training. He must be trying to get that contract extension. His second home run of the spring, after struggling a little bit again with his power last year in comparison to who he typically is. It was still a very good offensive season for most catchers. But dropping down from back-to-back 30-act seasons to 18, did increase his batting average and on-base percentage a little bit. We'll get a swing here with Winker. Oh, it's scalded but foul. So far, really liking the feel of Winker. I think I'm going to end up feeling pretty good about Rengifo as well.
Take your base.
We know I like hitting with Polanco. So I have another couple of guys that I really like to actually swing with. That would be nice. 1-2 counts. We'll get through this here with Rayleigh. Ball is scalded into the gap here, really hitting Ohtani pretty hard here. We'll go ahead and send everybody around.
On the tag.
We do get him out at third, but we do get the additional run in. Let's pitch a quick inning here with Bryce. Then we can Freddie Freeman is actually moving off for them. That's interesting. Then we'll just kind of move through spring training here. Hopefully keep everybody healthy. I do have injuries on, so that's at least something to pay attention to. Certainly hope that's not something that we're going to have to deal with. You never know. It is a part of real life baseball.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Come on.
Ball 4. Take your base.
Walks, Mookie Betts. There are worse things to do in life than walk Mookie Betts, though. Not really in front of Shohei. That ball is scalded. Okay. Shohei's exceptional. First time actually facing him. We didn't play any of the games against the Dodgers last year. Well, actually, we did have that almost no-hitter with Gilbert in the final game of the regular season. I don't remember facing. I mean, I'm sure I faced Shohei because we ended up pitching 2.5 innings with Gilbert. Of course, it's Kyle Tucker. Yes, he is a Dodger. Yes, they somehow found a way to pay him and paid him a lot of money. $38.5 million a year. Somehow. A brutal first spring training start here for Miller. Maybe we can turn 2 here, though. Crawford's smooth with it at second. And Miller gets through the inning. We'll simulate the rest of this one. And again, we'll just wanted to pitch just a quick little bit with him. Again, the big thing is just trying to get through healthy. I think that we have a better depth as we get scalded here. Emerson Hancock did not have a very good start. Raleigh, of course, hit the home run. Miller was good, did not give up any earned runs. 2 walks, 2 hits, though, in those 3 innings. Able to pitch around trouble. Not a great start for Emerson Hancock, who I plan on still keeping as the long reliever this year like he was last year. Yeah, let's just let's get through like the middle of I don't care. Come on. So through the middle of March, we're 11-6. Let's just kind of peruse. Rengifo playing well. Crawford playing well. Julio playing very well. Raleigh mashing, hit 18 homers all of last year. He's hit 5 and 45 at bats here in the spring. Winker, 205 average, so not a great start. 273 for Rayleigh. Polanco doing okay. Rosarena, Robles doing good. Okay, what about Garver? Yeah, I'm not really overly worried about what he's doing. Canzone not doing well. That's not great. Burleson not doing so hot. Ford hit a home run, hitting 415 at bats. Obviously not a ton of playing time. Pitching rotation, Kirby's been good. Gilbert has not been great. Wu has been outstanding. Castillo's been roughed up, but he was early last year as well. Bryce Miller has been exceptional here so far through the spring. Oops, sorry. Emerson Hancock's been fine. Santos been good. Rogers, that's a little worrisome. Snyder not been good. I'm not worried about Snyder. I'm not worried about Brash. Okay. Gotta see if there's somebody else that's really standing out. Okay. I think it's time to, let's get to the end of spring training. Send some of these guys down. Jesus, I need to turn up something on this. I need to turn it up just a tad, I think. Let's, so we fast forward just a little bit, take a look at the lineup again. Rengifo hitting well. Oh, this would be, look at that top four. Winker bouncing back a little bit. Starting lineup really outside of Polanco are hitting very well. And Polanco's at least hitting for pop still. Bench, Rivas hitting well. Harry Ford maintaining. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That makes me feel a lot better. Let's start maneuvering some of these guys down, though. Obviously, the big five, Hancock, are all going to stay in the majors. We'll send Joyce, at least for right now, down to AAA. That's pretty much it. Santos has been good. Spire's been good. Rogers, we're going to keep up, see how he starts. Snyder, Thornton. God, it's been really good. Salcedo was not great last year. Suter is 36. I'm sure he is going to regress first, so we'll send him down to... Oh, okay. We'll send Salcedo down for right now. He was not great last year, and that's his third option. Something to keep in mind. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll send Vargas down here. Ooh, he actually was a waiver. I did not notice that. Not great, so it's fine. Roy Taylor. Send him down. Munoz and Brash obviously will stay up. Harry Ford, going to send him to AAA so he can get starting time there. Blake Hunt, we will send to AAA as well. So that's the first option there for Harry Ford. So for those of you that don't know, we can use, that's 3 years worth of options. So he can get sent down to the minors 3 different times. Per night, he can get sent down 3 different years to the minors. So like if we can bring Ford up now at this point in time, every other day, technically, if we wanted to, and he would be fine. He would not use another option this year. How many does Hunt have left? He's still got one more. Okay. Those will be our 2 catchers. Locklear has not hit again. How many does he have? Okay. Send him back down. Shenton not hitting well. We got other guys in Burleson that can play first base. What did he end up doing last year? Not good. Okay. Send him to AA. Ryan Bliss. Bliss will probably stay up as kind of the utility guy around the infield. Did have a nice game 3 for us against the Twins. Rengifo and Polanco. Rivas we're going to send down to AA. Really want to see what Celestine can do at some point in time. Canzone, I just don't think it's going to work out there, unfortunately. It's just his first minor league option, but Taylor's got good speed. Marlowe, we're definitely going to send down to AAA. So that gives us a 28. Got to knock off 2 more guys. Burleson for sure. Taylor. We're just not going to have a lot of speed on the bench outside of Bliss, but I don't see many instances in which Samad Taylor would play. To be honest, now we got to send 1 more person down. Who's the bottom guy on the roster? Vargas. So I don't think we have to wait on. Suitor technically just can't be sent down. We only paid him $700. He didn't pitch at all for anybody last year. God, does he have? Guy has minor league options. We'll send him down. Oh no. Okay, we're in a bit of a pickle here. All right, 2 catchers, first baseman. We pretty much have to keep Bliss up. 5 outfielders, because one of them is the DH. May not be the worst idea to send Hancock down with how many guys I have in the bullpen and just let him go get more starts. He hasn't had any options used, so he's not in any danger of like losing. Not in any danger of him of losing him, I guess I should say. Why don't we do that for right now? We just won't have like a real long reliever. And I think that's pretty well going to set us up. Let's get to the regular season. We stayed healthy. And I just want to make sure it didn't do anything crazy for us. It did some AA and AAA stuff. Looks like the Major League roster is... Okay, so it brought Marlowe back up. Right, didn't I send him down? Or did I miss that? Let's got a Rosarena on the bench. So I'll swap up the lineup here a little bit. That's all, at least my main guys there for sure. Garver, Bliss, Burleson is over here too. So they have Winker playing left field. That's what's kind of making it look weird here. Okay. I'll mess around with the lineup and stuff. But yeah, we are, I think we're ready for year 2. I'm excited to be back. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to kind of see. It'll be George Kirby on the mound. We'll get things started against the Baltimore Orioles and their new ace, Framber Valdez, the next time I see you guys here. Thankfully, we stayed injury-free there. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoy the content, like, subscribe. Check out my other work on the channel. I got a Atlanta Hawks franchise and a Tulane Green Wave dynasty on there. And yeah, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.